Hi, this is Hal Kempfer, retired Marine intelligence officer, national security analyst on multiple media outlets, and the CEO of Global Risk Intelligence Planning. And I'm going to talk about three things on Greenland. Greenland has been in the news. Number one, it is a geostrategic area. There is great power competition in the Arctic. The fabled Northwest Passage, well, it exists. There are certain times a year the ice sheets retreat, and you can actually send commercial maritime shipping over the north, which saves a phenomenal amount of time and distance in moving goods from the Atlantic to the Pacific. So that's there. Greenland is chock full of minerals, rare earths, lithium, and there's even oil and gas fields up there yet to be developed. So, in other words, it has tremendous mineral wealth, tremendous natural resources, and it's also in a critical location. Number two, there's a big U.S. delegation that's going to Greenland. The vice president has joined his wife Usha and one of their sons in what was originally supposed to be a trip to Nuuk, the capital city of Greenland, and then a follow-on trip to Patufic Space Force Base, much further north. Well, as it turns out, there's a lot of tension between the U.S. right now and the Greenlanders, even more tension with the Danes. Denmark actually has sovereign control of Greenland. And of course, President Trump's announcement that Greenland should become part of the United States. As it turns out, none of the politicians there really want to greet the second lady and her son when they came in. They were supposed to go to this big dog sled race. The dog sled race was not thrilled about it. Even the tour company that set it up eventually pulled back and said, we can't support this trip. So now what's happening is everybody's just going directly up north to the U.S. Space Force Base up in northern Greenland. Mike Waltz, the National Security Advisor, is going to be with them. The U.S. Energy Secretary is going to be with them. And it's going to be this delegation led by the vice president that's going to visit one of our I think, our furthest north military base in the world. And so that'll be the optics that are seen. One of the background issues, and this is the third point, is that Denmark has, for a very long time, underinvested in defense matters. First off, it's a pretty small country. Now, in the war on terror, Denmark really, dare I say, punched above its weight, but they made a phenomenal contribution with what they had. They were in Afghanistan. They took tremendous losses in personnel, I think, either per capita or certainly by the number of personnel in the armed forces. And I think it's both metrics. They had the greatest number of combat casualties, combat losses of any unit anywhere in the world. So that tells you something about Denmark and their fighting forces. But there's not a lot of fighting force. And traditionally, Greenland, this big, huge island in North America, has really been reliant for the last, certainly before World War II, reliant on the United States to defend it. Greenland or Denmark just doesn't have enough resources, particularly maritime resources, the Danish Navy, to effectively defend Greenland, and particularly with this great power competition going on. So there is a recognition there that the U.S. is, even though Denmark ostensibly defends Greenland, is responsible for the national security of Greenland, it really falls back on the United States to defend Greenland. And that's part of the backdrop of part of this discussion and one of the motivating factors in the calculus that led to President Trump's pronouncements. Thanks for listening to Three Things. Certainly, I'm glad you're listening to it. You're probably listening to this on Hal Kempfer TV on YouTube. If you want to listen to my weekly podcast, Strat, Strategic Risk Assessment Talk, go to Strat Podcast. That's STRAT podcast.com. Also, you can go to the GRIP, Global Risk Intelligence and Planning website at gripsa.com. And I appreciate your time and hope you'll see some of my other things where I appear in various other media outlets.